Well, good afternoon, everyone. It's my pleasure to present here on our fifth and final webinar of the Experience MECCO Virtual Trade Show that we've been doing the last couple of days. And this particular webinar is going to focus on the latest innovations that MECCO offers that would enable our customers to gain a competitive edge. So before we get started, just a couple housekeeping notes. So as part of your attendance and participation in the Experience MECCO Virtual Trade Show, you will be receiving an email tomorrow with details on some special limited time offers that you can take advantage of, and you'll have the steps of how to go about redeeming those offers. We are also still scheduling one-to-one demonstrations, and these are great opportunities for you to come with your questions to one of our sales engineers or application engineers, try to get a better understanding of what's possible in your environment, and maybe take a look at some systems in operation from a virtual perspective. So again, just wanted to remind everybody to take advantage of those. So let's get started. So I'm Scott Cunningham. I'm the sales manager at MECCO. I've been involved with part marking going on over 18 years now. So quite a while in the industry, and like I said, it's my pleasure to bring this webinar to you. All right, so in today's webinar, we're going to focus on really why innovation still matters, given the current state of manufacturing today. We'll talk about specifically how some manufacturers are pivoting to meet their customers' needs, and we'll discuss different ways that your company may be able to benefit from some of the new products that we're releasing to our customers. We'll talk about some of the latest laser and pin marking technologies, and we can certainly go more depth into this stuff if the need presents, but try to keep it pretty high level, at least for this webinar. And then lastly, we'll talk about some best practices for how and when you may apply some of these different technologies or solutions to different environments. All right, so we have access to a study here done by Deloitte, and it's interesting. In multiple studies, including the one by Deloitte, show that companies investing in digital technology, despite business disruptions, come out on top. So digital factory investments have led to an increase of 10% in production output, 11% in factory capacity utilization, and 12% in labor productivity. Again, this is according to Deloitte study. Deloitte went on to find that, and to say that adopting smart factory initiatives can help U.S. manufacturers triple the labor productivity rate through 2030. And, in comparison to some of the more sluggish rates we've seen from, 2007 to 2018. Now, this year, we've obviously dealt with a major business disruption in COVID-19. It's absolutely rocked supply chains, shuttered businesses, and really, thrown every hurdle at manufacturing companies throughout the last several months. So why are you considering investing in new marking technology? I have to believe it's because that innovation still matters if you want to be competitive. So that's what we'll focus on today. Now, the digital future. So with digital manufacturing, manufacturers can create a factory that is connected, networked, and fully integrated. I did a webinar earlier this morning on that, and that's recorded and available on our website. So if you want to check that out, there was a much deeper dive. But really, the factory of the future is about, you know, connecting manufacturing processes and getting meaningful real-time data out of your manufacturing environment. Data that allows you to do analysis and optimize the entire manufacturing process to really make meaningful improvements that are going to turn into productivity gains, and to quantify that, these productivity gains that other manufacturers have realized have been on the scale of anywhere from 10% to even as high as 1,000% in productivity. So we're talking to lots of U.S. manufacturers, global manufacturers even, and because marking is so ubiquitous, we're in a lot of different environments, a lot of different industries. So aerospace, automotive, medical, electronics, you name it. And so these same themes or reasons for upgrading or looking at new technologies are still there. So a lot of these manufacturers are adopting new technologies to eliminate bottlenecks, to improve their supply chain visibility. So whether it's having their customers marking products so that when they receive it in, they can trace it back. A number of different sub reasons, but high level. Again, reducing inventory, increasing the visibility on the inventory that you do have, and maybe even the location of where it's at. So knowing what you have and where you can find it certainly allows you to be more competitive. Improving overall product quality, making sure that things are being properly identified, properly tracked, properly processed. We've worked with companies even to make sure that the product goes through the right sequence of operations. And if for some reason it's put into an operation and it hasn't gone through the prior operation, maybe it's flagged and that operation can't continue. So certain things like that to improve quality, shorten the time to market, and really lastly to quickly pivot to meet maybe some new customer demands. So we talked with our customers and we asked them, what they really needed to be successful at tackling some of these challenges. And what the feedback was that, there were a few different things. One is, we found that there was interest in tackling more applications, different applications. So a need for more application options. On the material side, there's a lot of novel materials out there and materials that traditionally have been difficult to apply marking technologies. And so dealing with those different materials is something that came up. And then really, especially given the pandemic, really a need for more cost entry points. So while maybe the engineered solution with all the features and functions that were necessary was ideal, given maybe some scaling back on budgets, the request for getting something good enough to make an impact became an obvious need. So for the rest of the webinar, I'm going to talk about what's new from MECCO. So our latest innovations are really designed to help meet those goals identified previously. So obviously we want to provide permanent high quality product marks and secure enterprise connectivity to provide the identification and traceability that's needed by industry. So in the blue circle up here, this is the LIGHTWRITER by MECCO, which I'll actually have behind me, and I'll explain in more detail. In the blue circle in the middle is the next generation Dot Peen system. So you see a Dot Peen marking head and a Smartbox controller there. We'll also talk about the SMARTmark green laser marker depicted with the green circle, and then the SMARTmark UV laser in the purple circle as well. And I'll go in depth into each of those and what they mean and what's unique about them. So let's start with LIGHTWRITER. So again, system sitting behind me. I'm very proud of what our team's been able to do with bringing this technology forward. So these are some of the goals that we laid out and some of the objectives of this product. So it needed to have a low cost entry point. It needed to be scalable for inline identification, and it needed to be flexible to operate both in dedicated cellular manufacturing, but also in a more universal all-in-one laser marking environment. So no matter what stage your company is in its digital adoption, high quality product identification is step one. Again, referring back to the webinar I gave earlier today, it is uniquely identifying your products with some type of machine readable code is step one to any high visibility manufacturing process where you're gonna have a real visible system for tracking parts. LIGHTWRITER as a product is really a perfect entry-level laser marking system. It allows you to get started right away with uniquely identifying your parts with a very high quality laser mark for not a lot of initial investment. So some examples of applications for this: talked about product identification, ideally unique identification. So talked about an example earlier of making 500 widgets in a day and differentiating between the first widget of the day and the second and on to the 500th widget of the day, because each of those are slightly different from each other. Customization, if you're needing to maybe do some unique marks or some level of private label or things like that, this is a great tool for doing that. Speaking of tools, it can be used in tool rooms, and so we have some companies interested in using it in marking hand tools or keeping track of different products that they would use on a daily basis, sort of like an asset control type of environment. It's ideal for small businesses, and again, entry-level price points, and really the capability and price point that it has, it would even be a good fit for maybe some maker spaces out there. So that's this guy. Like I said, if you're interested in seeing a live demonstration of it, just let us know, reach out, and we're happy to host that with one of our team members. The next new product launch is the next generation Dot Peen system. So, Dot Peen products that we offer have always been the fastest in the world and the deepest, and we still have that going for us. But we also have a redesign that really is geared toward more interface and connectivity options, so more flexibility on that side, and more options for quickly maintaining, replacing, and maintaining systems, and returning them to production right away. So with the next generation Dot Peen system, you have speeds up to 12 characters a second. You can get a variety of marking windows and sizes. You've got the full range of pneumatic and electric heads, indent marking and scribing or scratching, different options for characters, fonts, logos, 2D codes, QR codes even, some PC editing program, and really a connection to the MECCO Smartbox. Now, the MECCO Smartbox allows for autonomous control with no PC or user interface necessary. So as a black box, if you will, it can have all the programs that one would need. You can control it directly from a PLC. And then if you ever need to make any changes to those programs, you can simply plug in the little pendant. It's available as a touch screen and a keypad. Plug that in, make your changes to the program, store those down to the control unit, and you can disconnect it. So great for integrated environments. And if you have a more manual environment where you are manually inputting information on a ongoing basis, then you can keep that keypad touchscreen again, or like a membrane. You can keep that keypad with the system and connected for manual operation. So some more options here on this front, and very excited about the capabilities that this allows. And for those of you that may already have our Dot Peen systems, both the next generation marking heads and the Smartbox controller are backwards compatible. So you can run an old head with a new Smartbox, a new head with an old controller, but we are offering some incentives to migrate to the new Smartbox. All right, so that's on the Dot Peen side. Shifting gears a bit, now we're going to talk a little bit about our new technologies on the laser side. So we talked about the laser workstation, the LIGHTWRITER, what that looks like. When we talked about other applications, novel materials, things that were difficult to mark, I found that we need to expand our offering, and we need to offer more wavelengths of laser. So, with laser light, there's a visible light spectrum. Think of one of the traditional lasers in this space is fiber or 1064 nanometers. When you go down to 532 nanometers, it's green. The light is actually green. When you take it another harmonic down to 355 nanometers, now you're in the UV spectrum. So as you go from the longer 1064 nanometer wavelength down to the 532 or 355, you go from more of a photophysical reaction to a photochemical reaction. And so that gives you some very different results when the laser interacts with different materials. So we'll go in a little bit more detail. And again, if you were able to maybe catch Josh Kreisley's webinar, I'm sure he talked a bit about this as well. All right, so Going from 1064 nanometers down to 532, we're doing that, and we're doing it with still fiber technology. So the terminology can be a little confusing, but the takeaways here are that we have higher power than anybody else in the market, 20 watts of average power at that wavelength. So that's a lot of power for a fairly small laser resonator. Again, going to that shorter wavelength does enable interacting with materials that maybe to the longer wavelength really just weren't absorptive. So that energy can absorb now at 532, and if you look at that like emergency stop button there, some of these applications, that button, you can't get that white mark with a 1064 nanometer wavelength. So some other good applications are highly reflective or thermal sensitive materials. Materials including glass, silicone, ceramic, different thin plastics, metals. And when you kind of compare this technology to what I'll call cold laser solutions, a lot of those cold laser solutions really lack the power that's needed for keeping up with production speeds. So you still need a fast mark. You just need it to be better quality. And so this laser tends to work well with those more difficult materials, but where you're still trying to keep up with some sort of a takt-time line speed that you need power quickly. So because our green laser though works without distorting or altering heat sensitive materials, it's really suitable for a wide range of applications. So some of these applications can be laser engraving medical devices, copper drilling or cutting. And so as part of our MECCO's innovative line of SMARTmark lasers, this laser, this green laser, integrates seamlessly with existing equipment and assembly lines. So as a laser itself, or even coupled with one of our workstations, this is a good fit for a lot of applications. So again, just to keep in mind as you maybe looked at lasers in the past and maybe they didn't work for you, if you revisit it with us, we're happy to see what's feasible at this point. Then taking it one step further, going from 532 nanometers down to, we call it the third harmonic, ultraviolet laser. These are still industrial lasers. It's one harmonic shorter, so you've got a shorter pulse width. Now you can react with materials that maybe don't work well even at 532. But because it is a decent power output, you still create readable marks fast and much more efficiently than maybe some of those cold technology we talked about earlier. So the UV laser is really suitable for a lot of medical applications, high density polyethylene. Again, some of these novel materials, and what we do most often, we can do some stuff theoretically, working through with product engineers on what's possible, but the best thing to really do is to take some sample material and then empirically test it with the different lasers. So all of these lasers we have up and running in our applications lab, and we can process the marks on the product and compare and contrast the difference in marking with one technology versus another. So again, there's a lot of things that UV allows, small delicate components, circuit boards, silicon wafers, a lot of applications in the electronics and automotive industries, again, medical as well. So just, there's no one size fits all here, but it's a great tool for a lot of more exotic materials and tougher applications. So to kind of wrap things up, I just want to talk about kind of MECCO's continued innovation. And, we're excited about all the products that we're launching now and what we're going to be launching in the future. So a few points to kind of go over. And we've recently acquired some very core technologies to our platform. So our laser marking software is now MECCO owned and controlled. Some scan hand technology, laser source technology, and so that's really enabling us to roadmap some features and capabilities that will benefit our customers. So if we continue our focus with the collaborative design and we get as much engagement as we can with understanding what our the challenges our customers are facing and how we can bring solutions forward, I think we're going to be in a really good place as far as bringing new solutions to the market over the coming years. So another thing that we want to focus on is leveraging our decades of solution development experience and starting to standardize on some of those types of solutions. So things that we've done many times before, bringing those types of things to market because they have a lot of value and a lot of benefit. So we're looking forward to continuing to talk with you guys about new things that we're doing and things. It's been a while since you've looked at what MECCO offers. Appreciate your looking now and reaching out and seeing if we've got something that might fit your needs. So as we summarize here, just some quick takeaways. Number one, adopting smart technologies, smart factory technologies rather. Doing this now can really future-proof your business. So bringing on technologies that allow you, maybe you don't need a full digital transformation today, but if you start with getting the mark, getting the technology that can make the mark, and you start small, you'll be able to get where you want to go in the future. So it's important, and we can talk certainly more about connectedness and how to pull data from your system and really create a smart factory solution to marking. We now have options available for really any budget. So again, with the LIGHTWRITER and the low cost entry point, that's really exciting. And on the other side of things, though, different applications and materials that we haven't been able to provide solutions for, now we've got the technology to do that. So again, I think I'm very excited about where we're going and what we can offer. And then the third takeaway really is just that, at MECCO, we're going to continue to bring useful technologies to market. So if you've got a need, and hopefully we can solve it today, but if we can't, we are happy to collaborate and work with our customers to come up with the solutions of tomorrow. So that's the end of the presentation. I will give you a couple more reminders here. So these exclusive deals for being a trade show participant, we will be sending out information tomorrow on that. We are still doing one-on-one demos. So if you want to reach out, you can schedule time with one of our engineers and discuss your specific needs. And thank you for your time and attention. At this point, any questions from the audience? I'm just going to look in the chat box here. Okay. Okay. So I've got one question here. What's the best machine for plastic automotive component marking? So that's a great question. Plastic automotive components, we have marked those with Dot Peen systems in the past. Usually, if you're in the automotive space, it's higher volume, the need for traceability is there. You're probably going to benefit from having some sort of a laser mark on the material because you're going to try to create more contrast. But it really depends on how that solution is being incorporated. If it's being put into a line, I would say maybe our 20-watt fiber laser would be a good fit, or a Tiburon laser would be a good fit. If it's a more offline process, depending on the volume, something like this LIGHTWRITER solution could be a good fit. So those are the types of questions that we would get from our customers, kind of work through with them to develop a solution that sort of meets those needs and meets that vision for what it should look like and what it needs to do, and how we get there. So good question. All right. Well, with that, again, thank you for your time and attention, and really excited to have you, and excited to talk about some of the things we may be able to do for you. So just reach out and see if we can help. Thanks.